Hi, this is Ryan Christianson. I'm with the Bureau of Reclamation's Western Colorado area office in Grand Junction, Colorado, and wanted to give you an overview of how reclamation is involved in the Uncompahgre River Basin, and touch a little bit on our water quality monitoring that we do there as well. So first, I wanted to give you a introduction to Your Reclamation, what we are. Our original mission was to reclaim the arid west. That's how we have the funny name that doesn't make much sense these days. Not too many people know what reclamation means, but really it just meant that we were going to reclaim the desert lands by bringing irrigation water onto those and make it possible to farm and be productive. Anyway, it all really began in 1902 when Roosevelt signed the Reclamation Act. And before that, we were part of the USGS under the Department of the Interior, still under the Department of the Interior today. And just some general principles of how we work is we have a lot of various projects around the Western United States. Federal money that's used on reclamation projects that were used to build the dams and the infrastructure is federal money that is to be repaid by water users. Those who benefit from the project will pay a percentage of that back to the federal government, and the amount that they're paid back really depends on how that was authorized by Congress. And once everything's repaid, it doesn't necessarily transfer title to those water users. It remains a asset of the federal government. And that provides a lot of protections for the water users. And there is options for title transfer if they do want to pursue that. But some of the biggest issues, are around liability issues and that sort of thing for these large federal structures. They're very difficult to insure. And when we did do the construction, we contracted with the private sector, did construction contracts with them. So almost everything that Reclamation has built was done with private construction companies. And Reclamation continues to administer the related contracts, and we provide construction inspection as our facilities are built. And then in the case of where there's a hydropower component, those revenues can be used to repay those construction costs. So anyway, some of the notable reclamation projects we have around the West, a lot of people are familiar with these, especially the Hoover Dam is probably the most notable, most visible as far as a reclamation project. That's the Boulder Canyon project. And then some of the others we have just upstream from Montrose, we have Mara Point Dam, which is part of the Aspinwall unit. That also includes Blue Mesa Reservoir. And, we have Glen Canyon Dam down by Page, Arizona, forms Lake Powell. And some of these other ones that probably look somewhat familiar to you guys. Just some statistics for Reclamation. We do have 337 storage reservoirs right now that so provides quite a bit of water, both irrigation and municipal water, to various entities around the West. We are a wholesaler of water. We normally have contracts with river districts and other municipal water providers. We do produce 60% of the nation's vegetables, 15% of fruits and nuts, most of that being in California, Central Valley Project out there. But that is, a lot of what we do. And also the hydropower component. Many of our facilities have a hydropower component, produce clean energy, and we are the second largest hydroelectric power producer. I believe Bonneville Power up in the Northwest United States is the largest. People always ask that question. In current mission, things have changed over the years. Was first to reclaim the arid West. Now we've evolved into more of a environmentally sustainable model where we, try to still continue the historic benefits of our projects, but we do it in as an environmentally sound and economic manner as possible. And of course, we want to do that to protect the interests of the American public. Just to give you a quick overview of where reclamation is located, we are in the western half of the United States, starting with the Plain States and moving all the way to the Pacific Ocean. We do not include Alaska or Hawaii in our area. So it's just the western half of the lower 48. We are broken into 5 regions, and we do have a Denver office, which is kind of the hub of our technical services, and Washington, D.C., which is where the commissioner sits and where we have budget activities and everything that is related to the need to be close to the central government. Within our region, we're broken into 3 different area offices. We have the Provo area. We're currently in the middle here at Western Colorado. We cover most of the western side of Colorado and northwest New Mexico and a little sliver of Arizona. And then we have the Albuquerque area that's covered most of the rest of New Mexico and far west Texas. That composes the Upper Colorado region. And then just looking at some of the projects that we have in our area office, we have 17 projects in this area. We do cover 3 states and 4 tribes, being both Southern Ute and Ute Mountain Ute tribe, and Navajo Nation and Hickory Apache Nation. We have 2 primary office locations. We're one area office, but split two places geographically, which is to our advantage given the geographical challenges of the area. That being Durango and Grand Junction. So a little bit about the projects themselves. Most notably for this group, you're probably interested in the Dallas Creek project. This is the main storage vessel in this project is Ridgeway Reservoir. It's the most visible as you drive along 550. A lot of recreational opportunities there. The primary benefit for the project is irrigation. Water released from there supplies the Uncompahgre Valley with supplemental irrigation. Most of their water supply comes from the Gunnison River, and I'll get into that in the next slide. But then there's also a lot of storage available for municipal and industrial supply, and that's this whole project is operated and maintained by Tri-County Water Conservancy District, and they also have the contract for the municipal and industrial water supply. Right now, it's difficult to mostly due to the geography. It makes more sense for them to exchange water that's in the reservoir with what comes out of the Aspinall unit through the Gunnison Tunnel. So they take that through the Project 7 water treatment plant that sits up above Montrose to supply the water supply, but they exchange that water supply for what they have allocated in the reservoir. So there's no treatment plant directly tied to this, but it is considered for the future and would provide, a future water supply. So the other major project that we have in the area is the Uncompahgre project. The main storage vehicle there is Taylor Park Dam, which sits far up above Gunnison. And, it's an advantage to have that high storage. It's less evaporation, and water is released out of Taylor Park Reservoir as needed to supply the Gunnison Tunnel. The Gunnison Tunnel was the component of the project that was originally built. And interestingly enough, this was one of the very first projects that was constructed under the Reclamation Act of 1903. So construction started on this project in 1904. Taylor Park wasn't built until 1937, or in the 1930s. It was completed in 1937. And water from there is conveyed down to the Gunnison Tunnel when there's not enough flow in the river. And there's all kinds of infrastructure down in the Uncompahgre Valley. If you're familiar, there's many miles of canals and laterals that supply a lot of land down there. It's over 76,000 acre feet irrigated. So I want to just touch on some water quality monitoring that we do at Ridgeway Reservoir. We provide annual base water quality monitoring at all of our reservoirs, and we just look at major constituents. We don't have an in-depth water quality monitoring program, but we do have water quality concerns. Primarily, our projects are for irrigation supply, or we work with municipal industrial water suppliers who then treat the water. So it's not a huge concern, but it is a concern. Probably our biggest concerns are related to legacy mining that's upstream of Ridgeway, in the upper reaches of Ouray County. And then, of course, there's always the threat of forest fire and the impacts that's going to have on water quality. We do like to remain engaged in water quality issues. We like to partner with others who are doing water quality monitoring and look for opportunities to share data and just try to help solve water quality problems together, because we all would like to ensure that we have good water quality, and how our water users use that does play a role. So we only do monitor the reservoirs. We don't do any monitoring in the river itself, but that's also where we look for opportunities to share that with our partners. And just the idea of some of the constituents that we monitor for. We have different sites within the reservoir and at different depths that we check water quality. And this gives you an idea of the results over the near term at these different sites and different sampling efforts that we've made. So with that, that was kind of a short overview. I know I concentrated mostly on how we're organized. So hopefully that makes sense. You kind of understand Reclamation's role in the Uncompahgre Valley. We work very closely with the Uncompahgre Valley Water Users Association, who manages the Uncompahgre project for us, and also with Tri-County Water Conservancy District. And of course, we're also working closely with Division 4, as it relates to water rights. They help do a lot of the accounting for a lot of the exchanges that we have between our various reservoirs in the area that supply the projects. Here is my contact information. Thank you for your interest.